Approximately 30 years ago, the legendary West Indies opening batsman Desmond Haynes, Dr. the Honorable Desmond Haynes, missed one match of the 4-day regional cricket competition. The administrators of West Indies cricket at the time thought that that was a sin, that was a crime so grave that he never played any match again for the West Indies. Earlier this week, an article was released by the Trinidadian Guardian saying that you do not have to play regional 4-day cricket to play test cricket for the West Indies. This morning, I have invited Dwight Chatu, Juna Codlin, and Bobby Brown to give me their view on this very important shift in West Indies selection policy. Hello everyone, welcome to the #1 cricket channel in the Caribbean. I trust that you will have a happy day. Please slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let me read in part that document that was released by the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. In order to meet the players halfway, Bascom said, they are aware of the packed cricket schedules. The former West Indies cricketer used the upcoming England and Bangladesh tours as examples. We have England tour to the Caribbean running into the regional Super 50 and then overlapping with the Bangladesh series. It's very possible that players who play in multiple formats may not be able to participate in the Super 50, said the director of cricket, adding it would be unfair to say they will not be able to represent the West Indies. Bascom said the old policy could not stand up to current intensity of cricket schedules. This development, the article went on to say, means that players like Sheo, Brandon King, Nicholas Pooran, once they declare themselves available, can be selected by head coach Andre Kohli for the test series against Bangladesh. Gentlemen, let me have your reaction. Let me start with you, Bobby, because you were the first to hear. So go ahead, Bobby. Let me hear your view on this.
Absolutely ridiculous. You know, it's like we're taking one step forward and 10 steps backwards. You know, to put guys, T20 guys who haven't played first class cricket for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, to put them back in the test team is just asking for problems. You know, it's just a recipe for failure, I think. I do think, like he said, with the pack schedule, the old policy does need a bit of alter. But to go this far is just plain ridiculous. I really want to see how it works out. I don't think it will work, but let's see.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Dwight, let me come to you and hear your views on it. Dwight, what you have to say about that shift in selection policy?
I'm still shell-shocked. I'm still trying to recover from this new policy, from this new policy and what the implications of this are. I'm trying to figure out if when we look and we decide who should be director of cricket, who should be head coach, who should be... So I'm wondering if people simply raffle names. Because Biscom clearly doesn't look like he's applying his mind to the job. It appears that he's just coming up with some popular stuff. He's acting like he's some sort of a politician running around the Caribbean, coming up with these policies. Remember, this is not the first time. Bascom at a function organized by the West Indies told us that he was moving away from the fitness policy, and fitness would not be as much of an issue in the selection of players going forward. And everybody thought, interesting. You won't consider fitness? Really? No, he has gone one better. He's telling us that for you to play Test cricket, you do not have to play in regional first class cricket or any red ball cricket tournament anywhere in the world. You can simply walk into a Test cricket team simply on the back of hitting 40 runs from 20 balls in a T20 contest. This is basically what this man is saying. And I'm wondering, is this man even suitable for the job when he's sitting and coming up with these sort of policy positions? It is absolutely ridiculous. And I think the first place we should start is that we should replace him with Desmond Haynes.
Thank you very much, dear Dwight Shatu. As we now welcome Juna Codlin, welcome, man. Let's hear your view on this topic, Juna Codlin, and welcome to all those who are watching on the West Indies Cricket Development Academy platform. Welcome, Juna.
Yeah, good morning to all the viewers around the world and to yourself and to the fellow panelists. We are discussing the step that Cricket West Indies, the newfound step that they have made. But one should realize and understand that from the Ricky Skerrick administration, the administrations have been bowing to what the players want, and it's a dangerous thing to do. They campaign on Cameron being an hardball, but they are being a soft soap, because how can you have a policy that a player doesn't have to play in his regional? When you look at India, that they are trying to pattern that India players are playing Test cricket, ODI cricket, and T20 cricket. But if you look back, those players participate in the local competitions that India run. They have to participate. Even Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, they must participate. And so when we are going to tell our players that they can just come in and play, and what happened to those that are playing in our competition? So that means if they have a top scorer, they amass 800 runs in the season, then they have to make way for a poor run. They have to make way for somebody that is playing in our T20 league and light up that T20 league. You have understand and note that during the Ricky Skerrick administration, that they used to make themselves available to us, the media. But since Dr. Shallow take over, you hear them talk about quarterly press conference. But in those press conference, when you try to ask the hard question, they shut you down. And so this is what Cricket West Indies is doing, and it's a backward step, and it's one that I don't agree with.
Thank you very much, dear Juna. We appreciate that. I want to ask you this, Dwight. In the 19th centuries, I think back about 1850 something, Charles Darwin, you remember that English philosopher or naturalist?
Yeah, we all know Darwin.
Yes.
He came up with evolution.
Yes, and so Darwin said, and a part of his natural selection, I don't want to call it evolution, and we don't have time to go through everything that he said, but I just want to summarize this and say, he said, only those individuals most adapted to their environment survive. Is that what Cricket West Indies is doing in this environment, Dwight Shatu? Do you want me to read this statement again, sir?
No, you don't need to read the statement again. I don't think Cricket West Indies has been one of the best teams that has adjusted to its environment. I think the opposite, actually. Remember, when the issue of T20 cricket started to come about and the impact of the T20 franchise circuit on the game of Test cricket started to be well known and started to become obvious, several people, myself included, step out, and we all said, you cannot be a dominant Test team, unless you have your best players on the park. In fact, during the end of Dave Cameron, the issue that we had is that we said we started to fall off in T20 cricket because there was an ongoing dispute between Dave Cameron and the players. And because of that, we didn't have the best T20 players on the park. And so when the new administration, like Ricky Sterrett, came about, and they started to try to have discussions to have our best players representing us in T20 cricket, we're okay with that because that was fine. But still, the conundrum of having the best players in Test cricket, that wasn't solved. Now, we have seen the Asian teams in particular, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, all coming to the reality of what is the impact of T20 cricket on the circuit, on their Test cricket game. They recognize having a good Test cricket team is important to them, both from a financial point of view, in terms of money that they're getting from ICC, and also for some of the other benefits that come down in terms of the development of their cricketers. And they have moved to put in place clear policies in place so that their players understand that they have to play Test cricket. They're not going to water down their Test cricket team to suit players. Recently, a few Indian players wanted to only focus on the IPL, and the Indian Cricket Board came out strongly. So they are aware of what is happening. Australia have an MOU where they with their players, where they state the importance of cricket during their season. All right. So all these nations are aware. The nations which have been very loosey-goosey about it are the nations that we see that's coming under a little bit of stress. We see that with South Africa at times being unable to feel a competitive team in Test cricket. We see New Zealand falling off. Okay, those teams have been a bit loosey-goosey. They don't have the money that the ECB have to throw at players. So the West Indies sitting down, coming up with this thing. They have been late to the party from the beginning in recognizing the harm of T20 players, T20 cricket, and putting in effective policies that basically let players know the importance of representing them in their Test team. And now they have come up with a policy like this that has simply succumbed to player power and will push them even further back. That's my position on it.
Bobby, is Mile Bascom, the director of cricket, and the West Indies by extension, is this a case of adapting to the new environment to survive?
That's what they're trying, I think. But like I said before, I don't think it's going to hold anyway. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think they're going in the wrong direction. Because when you look at teams that are financially better and are better with talent, they are not going this route because they know this route they cannot survive by going this route. So I don't understand why do the cricket West Indies administration think that they can survive by going this way. And we've seen even where places like England, who has always been loose, even they know, they're saying they're trying to come up with a way so that they can have better Test cricketers and more of their players playing in the county championship. So I don't understand, this new policy is just crazy because even in India, people will say, oh, this guy has a good IPL season, so he gets picked in the Test team. But if you look at his first class record, it's always good, right? And these guys are been playing first class cricket, and everybody know, every young Indians, they have to play first class cricket, no matter where. Whether it's in India or they will be allowed to go and play in other places, but first class cricket is very essential to Test cricket and to cricket all over. Because, even when we look at Hitmeyer, right? When Hitmeyer was performing, especially in ODI, he was playing first-class cricket. The same thing with Mr. Kyle Mayers. If you look when he fell off, is when he decided to stop playing Test cricket. So, and that's when his performances took a nosedive. So, I cannot understand this new move from Mr. Bascom.
Thank you very much, Bobby. And that's a very good point that you made there, Bobby, about playing first class cricket, because I look back at, I think the best definition of that is the former Australian opener, the left-handed opener. His name is not coming to me right now. He just retired. The just opener that just retired.
Warner.
What's his name? Yeah, Warner. David Warner first played T20 cricket for Australia. They saw him then as a T20 batsman. However, he was promoted to the ODI team, then to the Test team, based on what he did in T20 cricket. But when you look back at what he was doing in Sheffield Shield cricket, you knew then that he has a lot of red ball cricket under his belt. What is happening here is that Miles Bascom, whether rightly or wrongly, because I maintain, Juna Cotlin, that maybe Miles Bascom is right in the end, and maybe this may work in the end, But we could give it a try and see if it works. If it doesn't work, we said, yes, we told you it would not work. But if it worked, we said to Miles Bascom, well, boy, you are right, Miles Bascom. You prove us all wrong. So I would not have gone that way, certainly. But it may just work. Judah Cotlin, what do you think?
Looking at scientific and been watching and listening West Indies cricket since 1999, I cannot see how this will work, because the way you prepare for a T20 game is not how you prepare for a Test game. And if you look at Bas McCallum and what he was able to bring to the England team, and in the way which he did that, he did not do that by picking solely white ball players. He did it in such a way that he tell them to go out and play freely. Now, we have seen players playing T20 cricket that you wish those players was in the Test team because of the way that they are playing, blocking and blocking and blocking. So what I'm really saying is that injury will come into place, because a player can't just be prepared for T20 cricket and walk into a 5-day game, because you have to prepare differently for the Test game. So it cannot work in that sense. He must have some red ball experience, and the best way to have it, it's whether these players play in English conditions like we have seen Seals have done over the last few seasons, and come back to the Caribbean and be able to participate. But you can't just be a white ball player and be drafted into a Test team. You will threaten that player's long term. If you look at Josh Little of Ireland, when he was asked to come and play Test cricket for Ireland, he pointed out the fact that he has been playing a lot of T20 cricket. The way he prepares for T20 cricket, he can't just walk back into the Test team. He must play some red ball game to get his body to be used to the rigors of Test cricket. So he needs to play some domestic cricket. So it's on that backdrop, I say the plan of Miles Bascom cannot work, and later on we'll explain some more.
Go ahead.
If I can, you're just being politically correct. You're just trying to be polite when you ask us these questions, Carlton. Carlton, it won't work. Carlton, let me say it again. It won't work. It's a stupid idea. We should just fire Miles Bascom now and just say, well, boy, he would just recognize he wasn't up for the job, rather than to go and invest 2 or 3 years in this policy and realize at the end that that's failed. See, it won't work. It won't work, and there'll be other problems that it will create. The first problem is that it will question the relevance of regional cricket, of regional red ball cricket. Why play regional red ball cricket anymore? Why should I do this when I can go off and run around the world and play T20 cricket and all of that? Why? Why should I come and play regional first class cricket? Secondly, it will raise a whole lot of questions about insularity and about favoritism and about how players are being selected. Because while right now, when a player is selected, whether you like it or not, right now a selector can say he scored 400 and so runs in our regional first class system. People can get up and say, oh, but the quality of the bowling was that. People can do that, but they still can point to an objective metric why a player was selected. Now, it's just up in the air. The player looks good. And like what Junior said, the two games are distinctly different. We only have to look to Shea Hope to see that the two games are very, very different. Shea Hope has a batting average of around 25 in Test cricket. Shea Hope is one of the best ODI players in the world. All right, it won't work. It's as simple as that.
Dwight, I'm not being politically correct when I ask these questions, but I know exactly the point you are making, that it's you and June have made this point that it is two different preparation. For I've passed 50 quite a few years ago, but Nicholas Pooran can't bat to me in a red ball game where I can set my field. Nicholas Pooran, I'm telling you that right now. If him think like me, I tell let him come. I'm going to run him off of the pitch. Because I can't bat my ball in a red ball if I can set my field. So I fully agree with the Edmire too. You know, and a number of these guys cannot bat me right now bowling a red ball to them. I run them off the pitch, run them off. You know, because I will set them up and run them off. So it's
Carter, let me add this thing as well. Let me add this one thing. Sorry to interrupt you, but let me add this thing. I'm really, really sorry. But you are playing devil's advocate, and I just feel like we should just get the bazooka and hit you. All right? Listen. When we look at this policy, what will happen is that they'll get up and their chances are invest in a player like, I like Pooran. So Pooran's my guy, so I won't use him. Let's say they're going to invest in some T20 player who's the hot thing coming on. Let's call him Mr. Noni. And by selecting that player to the test team, you're basically going to use up maybe around 6 to 10 test matches on that player, hoping that he comes along. There is some guy that's playing regional cricket that chances are has the right mentality, has the right attitude towards developing his skill in the red ball game, that has to sit there and watch all of this unfold while they experiment on this player. And then at the end of it, they'll realize that it doesn't work. And then all we have done is wasted time in the development of our cricket. This thing is literally a risk to the development of West Indies cricket. I honestly believe so. It is ridiculous.
You're mute.
Okay. Would you like to react to Bobby? Would you like to react to Lou Pruden comment, please?
That policy seems so asinine players. Yeah, I agree. You know, you need to sacrifice. Any organization that's gonna do good, you have to make some big and tough decisions, and you need to sacrifice as a player. If you really want to do good in Test cricket, you got to sacrifice. No, I'm not saying okay, sacrifice your IPL for the regional games. Now we know they extended to 10, so you might be able to play some games. All right, even if you don't play any regional games, try to go to England and play some games. Try to go to South Africa. Try to go to Australia. But you must sacrifice some of your time to play some red ball game. You cannot have your cake and eat it in the real world. It doesn't work like that. If any player thinks he's going to play 4-over cricket and come and try to play 5 days of cricket and think it's gonna work, you know, they have a next guest coming. Just look at Ayer, and he's a guy who's been playing Ranji, right? And when he was playing South Africa or even England, He had a talk with De Villiers, and De Villiers tell him, listen, man, this is very different. It's the polar opposite. You have to have a different mindset and a different skill set. He said, no, I'm just going to do whatever. And we see what happened to him. Now he's out of the test team. So I agree. You know, the players have to pick a side. You have to sacrifice a little bit. You cannot have everything your way. The world doesn't work like that.
Jonah, we have Ramos 360 here. He doesn't give any accountability for his statement, but he made a statement. He said this policy should have been removed a long time ago. No accountability. He only said that it should have been removed. He doesn't give any background, any other information. Do you want to react to it, or you just want to blow over it?
Absolutely. There has to be a reaction. In any policy that you have to have sensible removal and phase removal of such a policy. But an important policy like this, for the legitimacy of our 4-day game and not pouring water. Our 4-day game is already at a critical point where you wonder if it is giving us value for money. When you look at our 4-day game, the quality of our pitches that is being prepared, our spin bowlers getting most of the wicket. When last did our 4-day game produce a batter that we can talk about other than Alec Athenies? When last does it produce a bowler that we can talk about? Because you can't truly say Shamar Joseph came from our 4-day championship. He came from a village that nobody know about. So you can't say that. So what we need to do is to fix our 4-day system, and getting rid of this policy will not fix our 4-day system. When you look at Dr. Kishore Shallow, the president of Cricket West Indies, and his policies that he's bringing in, when you look at a president that unpick the West Indies head coach in the white ball format, when you look at a president that unpick the director of cricket, when you look at a president that keep having overreach in West Indies cricket, you will not have accountability. You will not have people in right places to make proper and right decision. And that's the reason why Miles Bascom is acting awkwardly and putting in measures in place that in the long run will destroy the game that pulls us all together. This is a backward step from Cricket West Indies and its administration.
Gentlemen, there was a poll going on in the live chat, and 51% of the respondents are saying that they agree with the decision by Bascom, while 49% disagree. A few minutes ago, it was the other way around, where 48 disagree with my Bascom position and 52 agree. So it's a live poll, so it will change throughout. Dwight, this one is definitely for you. These two are for you. Adrian Bishop, and I'm going to give you both of them together. Adrian Bishop said, it's about money. Those mentioned players put bums and seat. Let's be frank, nobody shows up to see Craig Brathwaite poke around for 50. And I'm just going to add this one from Patrick Lambert. Dwight made a good point, but I disagree with him by saying that they should replace him with Desmond Haynes. So Patrick Lambert agree with what you are saying, but he disagreed that Desmond Haynes should be the person. And here's an Adrian Bishop. Go ahead, Dwight.
Okay, let me start with the Desmond Haynes comment. And let me add to something that Junior said. The real problem that we have right now is the red ball game. We have seen improvement in T20 cricket in particular. Before Darren Sammy came, the win-loss ratio was abysmal. Darren Sammy has clearly improved things. The way that team is playing, it's a step up from what was there. But the real problem that we have is with the red ball game. And a few seasons ago, Desmond Haynes pushed for and got them to introduce a tournament which I thought, if they had kept, was the way to go with the red ball game. At the end of the regional red ball season, they played some additional games called Best of the Best. They called it the Week's Headless Series. And they put together the best regional players and they had them squaring off with the academy side and so forth. No, that is the way that we should be looking to develop the red ball game. Simply moving from what we have now and giving them return matches in the red ball game, that won't do anything. That won't be anything at all. Because if you're playing against the same set of poor quality team, you won't really improve significantly in a timely manner. All right. What needs to happen is for us to get a more competitive red ball season. And what Desmond Haynes suggested some years ago by putting together best of the best teams, maybe at the end of the 7 games that they play, we'll look and we put together best of the best team. That is the way to go. Tell you what, if they even put together some best of the best team, and like what they did a few years ago when they asked players like Brandon King to come and play in those, invite Paran, invite Shea Hope, invite Hetmeyer to come and play in these games, and let us see how they fare in these games. And then we have a base on which to make a selection. So that's why I'm pushing the Desmond Haynes thing. The point that is made about they're trying to fill seats and thing, and who is more popular and thing, I don't think it will fill seats. I don't think sitting down and watching Shea Hope make 11 will fill any seats whatsoever. I don't believe so. I don't think coming and seeing Paran being hit by a short ball is going to fill seats. I don't believe so. I believe you'll bring them in, and if they start to fail, we'll feel the same way about West Indies cricket. So I disagree with this fill seats thing. I just think it's just lazy analysis and lazy work on the part of Biscom, and he doesn't want to knuckle down and do the hard work in fixing regional cricket.
John P. Nicol, my #1 nemesis and a legend of the chat. There are many. You guys know the history with me and John P. Nicol. We strived off each other. We love each other, but we hardly agree. So I do not expect John P. Nichols to agree with anything I said. He agreed with me yesterday morning or the morning before, and I was surprised. I almost fell off my seat, you know. Well, you know, so but John P. Nicol is my #1 nemesis. And he said, "Good morning, gentlemen. I vehemently disagree, respectfully so." Yes, I know that, John P. With the views put forward with your panel, I support the excellent policy of Mr. Bascom. You know, Bobby, what you have to say about John P? I don't want, if I talk to, no, go ahead, Bobby.
I think John P is some of the folks that just, they at this point, because we're performing so badly, they just want to try anything. They just say, let's just try something. But we know that that's not the way to go. They must do the hard work. They must make the tough decision. They must revamp other things. I just think John P is just one of those people that just said, you know what, just try something. Just throw something in there and hope for the best.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby, I'm going to bet you that John P is either a Hetmeyer supporter or a Shea Hope supporter. Or a Puran supporter. Yes, because this policy is aimed at those 3 players. And let's not laugh. Let's not run around the bush. This policy is aimed with those 3 players in mind, and the large contingent of people out there who believe that Shea Hope is the best thing since sliced bread and believe that he's better than sitting down and watching whoever it is that's in the test team right now. They're pushing for this policy. People out there who love them some Hetmeyer, they're pushing for this policy. And people who believe that Nicholas Paran, and Nicholas is my batsman. I love Nicholas Paran. Zane, but people who are pushing to see Nicholas Paran walk into the team without having to take a break from playing in all these T20 circuits that he's playing in. They literally want to roll out the red carpet for Nicholas Paran to play in this team. They are firmly behind this policy. So come on. I'm gonna bet you that John P is either a Shea Hope fan, a Hetmeyer fan, or a Nicholas Perrin fan. Let's put a bet on it.
I'm not, to be honest, Dwight, I'm not so sure. He has always been players bias. He is what you'd call it now. He's weak when it comes to player stardom. He's my good friend. So I can say these things. He's frightened by stars. And he's always have that player bias. So I got the point you're making, Dwight, but I'm not so sure that he's
ask John P. Ask John P. which player should be in the team right now is not in the team. And I'm telling you, one of those three names gonna come up. So let's challenge him. John P., which player who is not in the test team right now do you think should be in the test team right now? Let's throw that challenge out to John P.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Oh, yeah. So, back to Dwight point. A couple weeks ago, I was at a cricket match here in Florida. So, we were talking about cricket and test cricket. And a guy said to me, he said, man, Shea Hope should be in the team. None of these guys can bat like Shea Hope. He's made so much century. So I said to him, how much century has Shea Hope made in test cricket? He said, maybe like 6, 7. I said, man, you're wrong. He said, what about that time? That time he scored 2 centuries in England. And I said to him, bro, that's the only 2 centuries Shea Hope has ever scored in test cricket. He said, you're lying. I said, go and check. He said, for real? I said, check it. Check it.
Yeah, thank you.
20-something games.
Yeah.
And he was pushing for Shea Hope to in the test team.
Juna, Lou Prudent is saying, well said, those nations mentioned they will not compromise the true essence of the game, which is test cricket. We have suffered tremendously as it pertains to our test team. Are we compromising too much, Juna? Is player power winning too much in cricket West Indies, Juna?
Absolutely. And it has been increased by the Ricky Skerritt administration and the continuation of it by Dr. Kishore Shallow. And it's a bad thing in any and in every organization. If the CEO of an organization get into bed with the desk worker, then he no longer runs that company. The desk worker now makes and do just about anything. So you cannot have the two together. You cannot mix business and pleasure. And this is what is happening in Cricket West Indies, where the power is taken out of the hands of the administrators and being put in the hands of the players that don't always make the right decision. Let me labor on a point. In 2020, the West Indies sent a team to New Zealand, and they also had an A team in New Zealand. Nicholas Pooran went on. He had a contract in the Big Bash in Australia, where he forfeit some games just to participate in those 4-day games that we had in New Zealand on the back of the test series that we had with them. And that test series also is where the wicket keeper Shane Darrich never played again, test cricket again for the West Indies or any other cricket for that matter, to refresh the viewer's mind. And so Nicholas Pooran made very, very good contribution, 50 plus scores in those games. Is at that point they should have brought him into the test team. I and Nicholas Pooran share a very, very good relationship. We are very good friends. And I know from speaking to Nicholas Pooran, and without any fear of a lawsuit, that Nicholas Pooran is not interested in playing test cricket. But this is something that Cricket West Indies administrators, why do you think they push so hard for the continuation of the vice presidency of Asim Basarat? When you look at every 4-day games that is now played in the Caribbean, every one of them going to Trinidad. 90% of international games in the West Indies are going to Trinidad. Why are these things? Why these men exist only for their island and not for the rest of the region? Why are they making decisions to benefit their players and not to benefit the entire region? West Indies cricket is a public good, not an island good.
Thank you very much, Juna. Dwight,
Junior, let's be fair here. Let's be fair. Mr. Shallow put before the directors of West Indies cricket one of the key recommendations from the Webber report, which would solve some of the problems that you have highlighted. So let's not be quick in knocking down Shallow when he has done and he has pushed and he has agitated for a particular change. And that change was to bring in professionals to run the board. And that we shouldn't
Dwight, I'm not cutting you, you know. What Dr. Shallow said, I view what he said as mostly PR, and he himself was happy with the vote of the director. And it was the report that he made was PR, Dwight.
No. Basil. I can't hit on one side and not be fair on the other side. He did what he should have done, which was to put it to a vote. All right. We have seen before that it never went to a vote. We have seen before where there hasn't been as much agitation to bring in some of the changes. All right. Coming out of it, the PR thing about, I think they brought in another woman to be an independent director, and they were talking about how many women are on the board and thing. Was all he had to report. The only thing that anything of substance that he could have reported out of that. But at least he agitated to implement it. But I don't wanna spend a lot of time there.
No,
I want to go on.
If Dr. Shallow wanted independence in West Indies cricket, why unpick the head coach? Why unpick the director of cricket? Why unpick an umpire from your own island?
But I'm saying that the real way to solve this issue has to go in corporate governance restructuring. You're just picking at the edges, and you're picking at.
I do not think that he's picking at the edges, Dwight. I think those three questions are legitimate questions. Why Juna used the word unpick? Why unpick the head coach, the director?
But he got it right. Darren Sammy. No. Hold off. No. You have hit him on this policy of him going around and making some of these selections.
No, Dwight. Listen to me, Dwight.
But you got it right where Sammy's concerned.
No, Dwight. Listen. I have always said that as the president, he should get the man that he wants. So I don't have any objection to he getting the person that he wants. I don't have that. But the questions that June are asking are legitimate questions. He unpicked those persons. You know why? But let us look at what Gerald Music is saying, Dwight. That one is for you.
Mr. Brown, it can work. Our 4-day tournament is at a low standard. A lot of these T20 tournaments are at a higher standard. Wow. So the poster is saying that based on what he's seen better quality players playing T20 cricket who are not playing Test cricket right now. And I have a simple question to ask. Name these players. I'm very simple now. Name these T20 players right now who can walk in and do better in our Test cricket team. Just name these players. Please, I'd love to hear them.
Yes, Juna, Lou Prudent is saying fantastic points. And he said, I will go one step further. The recent CPL, I saw some of our young talents struggle versus quality bowlers. Bobby, you take that one because Lou Prudent is really heading to what Dwight and June had said. Is he correct here when he's saying that our young talented struggle against quality bowlers?
I mean, pretty much anywhere. If you look in the Big Bash IPL, the young talents they do struggle against quality bowlers. So while I do understand what he's saying, I wouldn't blame that on our first class tournament for that. That normally happens. That's the general rule. You know, you go to England, some of the young guys will struggle against Shamar, Jay De Seals, and you know our top bowlers, Moti, and so on. So I wouldn't say that's to be blamed on the standard of our 4-day game.
Okay, thank you very much. Patrick Lambert, I'm just going to go through these comments. In my opinion, Charles Etmeyer and Puran should not be included in the test team because they are not test caliber. Ray Phillips is saying, bad policy. A player must have the desire to play test cricket, and you must demonstrate that you can play 4-day cricket. You don't make runs in test cricket by just turning up to play test cricket. Gentlemen, I ask you for a quick reply to what Ray Phillips saying there. I know most of you agree.
Excellent point. Yeah, excellent point. What did Sir Clive Lloyd said? He said Test cricket is an examination and T20 is just an exhibition, right? And like you said, you know, bowling to a batsman in T20 is very different than in Test cricket, right? I see T20 batsmen struggle to make 30 in ODI cricket, much less Test cricket. You want to put them in Test cricket, where you could just hide the ball from him. You could just bowl wide and bore him. You could just, you know, there's so many things you could do. There's so less restrictions than in T20 cricket, right? T20 cricket is basically, you know, a batsman game to have fun, while it's way different in Test cricket.
Thank you.
So you must be ready.
People will hear us make these complaints, and even Mr. Bascom may sit and look at this video, and he will say all they're doing is that they're criticizing me, but they're not coming up with alternatives to the problem, because there is a problem now. Let's not kid ourselves. There is a problem. There is a reluctance on the part of players to sacrifice the time that is necessary to play in our regional cricket tournaments and transition and play Test cricket versus playing in these T20 franchise competitions right across the world. And what I'd say to him is that we have presented, especially on the show, we have presented alternatives. We presented one earlier. We said you need to make changes to the present structure of the regional 4-day tournament and have best of the best tournament. Reduce it at the end to maybe 14. Maybe the champion team, a best of the best team, and 2 other teams where you can put in some test players you're choosing. Huh? But apart from that, a couple of the other strategies that is needed for us to improve in Test cricket requires will on the part of the board. We need to commit ourselves to 18 cricket, especially overseas 18 cricket. And people will say that's difficult to do, but we need to show a commitment to that. But bigger than this, and Bazzi, I've heard this already, the board needs to use the leverage that it has to get a level playing field with these players. What leverage does the board has? Regional, domestic cricket tournaments, Super 50, CPL, regional first class. The board needs to look, and I've said this before, on every new person who is looking to play regional first class cricket or Super 50 cricket, or even who wants to participate in the CPL, and put a contract in front of them and say to them, we will give you this platform on which to participate and show your talents to the world. We, the board, will invest in you in terms of camps. I'm seeing here that they now have a more professional system for the academy players who will be paid. We will set up all of this for your development. And when later on in the future, we believe that you have the quality. And we come calling on you the same way that the Godfather said, when I come and I ask for my favor, I need 5 years from you. So I will invest in you. I will give you a platform, but you're not gonna come and use my platform and then run off like you can do as you choose. Put a contract in front of these players where they know that they owe an obligation to repay West Indies cricket, and we can enforce it by the force of a legal document. The West Indies Cricket Board need to put a contract in front of new players entering regional cricket, or tell them that they can't play regional cricket.
Okay, thank you very much, Dwight. Coming to you now, Juna. Juna, and as Dwight had said, that on this platform we have put forward a lot of ways in which to improve West Indies cricket. And my good friend John P. Nicol would have always been there to disagree with most of those suggestions, because he is, as I said, he is for the players, and not a number of those suggestions clearly would be taking back the power from the players and not giving it to the administration. Randy Beckers is saying, Juna Conlin, and you made this point earlier, that there'll be a lot of injured players. They had better have 3 substitutes for a test, because those players without much experience will struggle. Juna Codlin, do you agree with Randy Beckers? I think you have made this point earlier.
Yeah, I completely agree with him. But let's look at it. When Dr. Ains called upon Sheo Brandon King a few months ago, going to Australia and also going to England, these guys refuse. So it is not that they want to play the game and not being allowed to play it. So you are going to change the system to accommodate them. They don't want to play they don't want to play test cricket. And so to excel at something and to be good at what you do, you have to love it. You have to be interested in it. You have to make a sacrifice. And that sacrifice is because you want to do the thing. You want to play it. We have a lot of things to do, but we make a sacrifice to come and to highlight the viewers and to let them understand what is happening. You speak of a poll early on. The poll will go in favor of the players because the viewers are not being informed. So when they are informed, then they will come up with a different vote and a different opinion, because a T20 player can't just play a 5-day game. He will get injured. He will suffer injury, and he can suffer life-threatening injury that will end his career, where he has to make a decision whether he want to play cricket or he want to save his back or to save himself for his family. So this is the reason why we are talking about informed decision being made by the selectors, by the governing body of Cricket West Indies. Decision should not be made and you have a lawsuit thereafter because you put the player at jeopardy. But it should be made in the best interest of the players.
Thank you very much, Juna. And in a match that West Indies would have interest in, Bangladesh batting, they are 69 for 2 in over number 16. And West Indies would like Bangladesh to win this match. But at this stage, clearly South Africa has the upper hand. Good morning, Mrs. Brown. How are you? Mrs. Brown, giving a shout out to you guys and the entire community.
Good morning.
John P. Nicol is saying, I think Dwight raised the idea of selecting the best of the best. Yes, he did. For 2 teams, I think 3 or 4 teams though, to compete against each other and gauge the selection from performance in those matches. Excellent idea. You're a lucky man, Dwight. John P. Nicol agree with you. You're a lucky man.
I'm shocked. I'm looking and I'm still very, very shocked.
Good morning, Mr. Brown and everyone listening. Thank you, Coretta Singh. Sherwin is saying, why will any player sign your contract? Sherwin, another legend of the community, and from the other day I was wondering about you, Sherwin, so I'm very happy to see you. Sherwin is saying, why will any player sign your contract? I know that this is one of the white pet peeves, but what I will just ask Sherwin a simple question. Tell me one cricketer that earned any significant amount of money without first playing for the West Indies. When you answer that question, Sherwin, I will come back to you. Just one cricketer, one, who have earned any significant contract without first using the West Indies platform to promote themselves. And I will come back to you. And that is why they have to sign the contract. That's what Dwight is saying. Dwight, you want to elaborate?
I'm just amazed that the board doesn't understand the leverage that they have, because they're succumbing to these players because they believe they have no choice, and they have an amazing piece of leverage that they're just sitting on and they're just refusing to use. Then what will this player do who refuses to sign a contract? How will he come to the attention of the Mumbai Indians? How will anybody in the T20 circuit recognize this player? How? The platform that all of them use to launch their career is domestic cricket. West Indies, domestic cricket. And the bounce from that, they may jump into test cricket and also get recognition from that, or they come and they play in the CPL. Once they're cut off from that, what choice do new players have? Also, when you're a young player with a lot of talent and a lot of like your Jordan Johnson, tell me, what are your options? If we should look on you and say, you're either gonna sign this contract or you will not play domestic cricket here in the Caribbean. What's Jordan Johnson gonna do? Is he gonna pack up his bag and go over to England and go and play in that tournament in the Vitality Blast? Is that what he's gonna do? I mean, what other options do the players have? See, I think the board needs to sit with Weeper, call Weeper to the desk, sit down, put their cards on the table, put this idea out, and let us see if we can get a win-win for all sides. We're not saying that this is something that will be put in on senior players like Paran. That's why I've said new players. We're not saying that the players will be obligated to play West Indies cricket for all their lives. I've said give the West Indies 5 years. After that, make a decision if you just want to play T20 or if you want to continue to play some test match. But this will put us in a better position than we are in right now.
Gerald Music is saying, which of the current test batsmen except Brathwaite could you depend on to bat and save your life? Well, I won't put myself in that position. First thing, Gerald Music. It's just banter though. I hope you don't think what I said, but I won't put myself in that position, Gerald Music. You are saying that if you had a choice, I would use one of these players, King, Pooran, Etmire, Hope. Now, as far as Pooran and Etmire goes, as I said earlier, I can out them. I can't out Hope and King, but I can get a fast bowler to get rid of Hope. If I have a fast bowler bowling 85, 86, I know what to do to get rid of Hope. Well, King really, if King zoning on the cricket, he's probably the best batsman in the West Indies if he's zoning on the cricket. But I get the impression that when King is batting, he's not so much zoning on the cricket. Bobby Coretta Singh is saying, most of West Indies players just play for money. Just look, the IPL, they go there and play good. But when they have to play for West Indies, most times they are not making runs. And Bobby, how do you respond to that? Is that a fair comment from Coretta Singh?
I mean, yeah, we've been noticed for years now. I mean, this is nothing new. They just make runs, or if they play against India, or if they play again, or if they're playing in any top ICC competition. But otherwise than that, I mean, these guys don't care. You know.
Okay, thank you. Sherwin is saying, Mr. Brown, I will use others. Well, Sherwin, We are talking about cricket. This is the cricket forum. And this is the way that you choose to answer the question that I asked Sherwin. Name me one West Indies player who have earned a big contract without first have to use the West Indies platform to promote themselves. Name one such player, Sherwin. One. Yes, Gerald Music. Good. Gentlemen, I heard Dwight mention it earlier, and he said that this is on the screen. There is the West Indies Men's Academy. They are the ones that have got the contract. I heard Dwight mention that they would be paid. I have not seen anywhere in the release that they would be paid. I think that the contract really covers support and having them at the academy and providing for them or so on. I don't know if they will be paid. Dwight, you probably have other news, but I don't necessarily hear what they'll pay, because the contract to me say, the contract said, I'm going to read here now. I'm trying to read. I don't see anywhere that they will get any pay for. Do you see anywhere that they will get paid, Dwight?
Maybe I was mistaken, but I thought I came across something that indicated that they would be given some sort of some amount of money. But maybe I'm mistaken. I differ to you, Carlton. You know that I differ to your knowledge. You and Bobby normally know this thing, but normally know the ins and outs better than I do when it comes down to it.
I think it said these young men will have access to world-class resources, including a dedicated technical team, as they prepare for the rigors of regional and international cricket. And they not only name 15 men, but they also name 15 women. While the 15 men will be at the academy for the year, the female, they will be to and fro. And it's not necessary that they will stay at the academy. And a lot of work is expected to go on in their region, in their territory. However, gentlemen, the question that I want to pose to you, we look at this. We do not see any Joel Andrew. We do not see any Jordan Johnson. And there are a number of other players we could have called. Is this the right way for Cricket West Indies to go about selecting the players for the Cricket Academy? My view, why I asked that question, I think that for the Cricket Academy, the best under 23 players should be the ones who are selected. Take, for example, Joel Andrew. He's off to Sri Lanka with the West Indies ODI team. When he comes back from the West Indies, from that tour, wouldn't be the best place for him to go if he doesn't have any further cricket to play is to turn up to the academy? That's how I'm looking at it. So one may say that he has a contract from the Leeward Islands, but I believe that he should be at the academy. Yes, have the Leeward Islands contract. When the Leeward Islands are having match, if you are selected for another West Indies team, fine, go to those matches. But when you're not at those games, you should turn up at the academy. I just use him as an example. So I'm saying I don't think that the best 15 players have been selected to the West Indies Academy. And I think this approach of picking the what's left, so to speak, for the academy is the wrong approach. Let's hear you first, Juna Codlin, on this one.
Yes. One would say what Jordan Johnson is doing now. And the other one is that there are questions about Joel Andrews. It brings us to one point, Mr. Brown and viewers and fellow guests, how they went about picking these young men that are picked for this academy contract that they are giving out. These are the things that are happening in West Indies cricket where there's no accountability, despite them employing a new rafter of communication specialists. these things are not being communicated out to the public properly. So to comment properly on this, I would have to be brief with how this team go about, how did they go about picking these guys, and what are the mitigating factors that that excluded some of the players that we believe should have been picked. When you look at Jordan Johnson, which have fallen off form as we speak, but Gibbs Williams was doing a lot of work with him, and we know that Williams went tragically. But this is what we talk about in the Cricket Hall of Fame when we talk about mind power, where these players need mental intervention, where you have something like you had with Dr. Rudy Webster, where you intervene with these players and you give them special counseling. And so we had hope that in this academy that they are talking about, that they had something where it concerned, where mental health is concerned, and not about world-class training facility. That alone will not get us to the top. You have to have something in place that when a player is going through a hard time, he can talk to somebody and they can work through those phases with him so he doesn't have a mental breakdown when he goes on the field. Because Mr. Brown and fella panelists, when a hungry child is in class, whether he knows the work or not, he cannot do it because he's focusing on his belly to be filled, and so his entire focus now is shift. So we are asking Cricket West Indies, come out and tell us how you pick these guys that you pick. What was the mitigating factor that exclude some of who we have seen left out, and what are you doing to help them to get to where they need to be? And when you do that, then we will start believing in your administration again.
Dwight, what are your thoughts on this 15? And we note, I'm going through it, and I do not see any Jamaican on this list. Is that a surprise, Dwight? And what are your thoughts on the list overall?
I think this thing that you have pointed out is just symptomatic of a bigger thing that you had pointed out, I think a couple months ago, where we recognized, where we identified, where we observed that they were not having press conferences anymore. That the women's team was being selected, no press conference. The men's tour to Sri Lanka, no press conference. And now they have made, which I think is a huge decision. Remember, the academy is a part of their pathway program. It's a part of the system that they have put down for the development of players. And players are being selected to this. And I think if you're selecting players, you're always going to have somebody who people believe should have been there who gets left out. So that's par for the course where we'll say, but why is so-and-so not there? The issue is, as as Junior has mentioned, where is the accountability? And the only system of accountability that we have right now is to have them call a press conference and to have journalists put questions in front of them and say, why so-and-so not there? And at least we could get some understanding of what is happening, and we could get some trust in the system. So I think the bigger issue here is, why have we moved away from having all the press conferences that we saw that we had in the recent past? Why are we now here at a position where teams are being named and we don't have anybody? And yes, I find it a concern that Jamaica, the team that won everything in the region last year, has not a single player who is identified right here. But maybe Mr. Bascom has a very good reason for it. So let Mr. Bascom come before us in a press conference and explain the selection of the players in this list right here. That is the thing that I find to be more disturbing than anything else.
Basil, not Basil, Bobby, what are your views on this 15 that have been selected for the academy?
Well, I don't really have a problem with it. As you said, with Joel Andrew and other players, I would like to think that they're still training hard for their regional team, and they're not, just sitting there playing around. But I don't really have a problem with it. A bit of surprise, like Dwight said. Jamaica won everything last year, and there's no Jamaican players, so I'm a bit surprised by that. But otherwise, I don't see a problem with it.
The question I want to ask is that the National Cricket Center in India, is it, isn't it that the elite players, they are the one who goes to the National Cricket Center for training? Is it that is it really the second string go? Dwight, are you up to date with that?
I don't want to jump and say that I'm up to date with it, but I know every player who is in the Indian Test team right now, and even players who are returning from injury, they go back to the to their setup that they have there, that elite setup that they have there, and maybe the academy is not necessarily. Maybe we need to have more than one academy, an academy for young upcoming players who you need to be resident, who you need to have resident there, and they're training them inside out. And maybe we need to have another facility for our elite players who, as Junior said, some of the time you might have an Nkrumah Bonner who went through a pretty rough time. And the question is, how does he work himself back to looking at playing Test cricket again? And really, really, he has nothing. So maybe we need to have a facility like that, all right? But these are the things I think that we should be discussing and putting on the table rather than be hiding from them, as Mr. Bascom appears to be hiding from them.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. There's one name on this list that I want you, gentlemen, to look out for. And remember, I said it at 10:24 Jamaica Standard Time on the 11th of October, 2024. His name is Renico Simit. He's second from the bottom in the third row there. Renico Simit is a fast bowler. Look out for him. He's probably the very best young fast bowler we have right now. Most of those names you heard people are calling, look out for this young man. Renico Simit is the real deal. Gentlemen, final comment. Let's start with you, Juna.
Yes, it's quite an honor and a privilege to contribute to this discussion on West Indies cricket. What we are calling for is accountability. We are calling for Miles Bascom and for President Dr. Kishore Shallow, who I share a very good relationship with, is to reinstitute monthly engagement with the medias so we can have clarity on what you do for West Indies cricket. We're not completely saying that you're destroying West Indies cricket, but silence means consent. And without you giving press conference and explaining these things, journalists like myself and others around the Caribbean will continue to ask the hard questions, because this is what we get paid to do.
Thank you, Dwight.
I have to endorse what Junior just said. I think we need to get ourselves back to a system where we're having more frequent press conferences. And on something as critical as this, all I can do is ask Mr. Bascom to let's have a sit down. Have a sit down with the media, have a sit down with the people of the Caribbean, set up a Zoom meeting, and let's have a discussion on this policy. This is a very fundamental policy that has far-reaching impact. Let's have a conversation on this. All right. At the very least, we will say that you attempted to engage us on this issue rather than to be running away as it appears that you're doing now. And let's have a discussion on it. Let's have a discussion of the pros and the cons. Let's see whether or not there are alternatives that you're not exploring. But let's have a discussion. That's all I can do right now. I invite him to return to more frequent press conferences, but more so, I'm inviting him on this very issue to have a discussion with the people of the Caribbean on this matter.
Bobby?
Yeah, just like what Dwight and Junior said, we need more press conferences. We need more clarity, especially when you're going to make a change like this, a big change like this. We need more clarity. I mean, so the cricket West Indies administration, they have to come out and actually do their job. Stop running around. Stop being lazy. Stop trying to cheat their way into success, and do the right thing. Develop better structures to get back West Indies cricket where we should be, and But overall, we need more clarity, especially when making these policies.
I personally do not agree with the policy. However, I believe, like Charles Darwin, that only those individuals most adapted to their environment will survive. Just maybe, Miles Bascom may have it right. I don't think so, but it doesn't has to be a policy that I agree with. My interest and my sole interest is for the West Indies cricket teams to become our winning machines. I hope whatsoever the directors of Cricket West Indies put in place, that it will result in a triumphant West Indies cricket team. I thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here as I mumbled through that last bit just now, but nonetheless, I got it out. I really appreciate you engaging us this morning. I thank the viewers and the listeners. Please remember to slash a like on the video and click on that subscribe button. I will be back with you tomorrow morning for the live watch along of Sri Lanka versus the West Indies. Until then, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. See you.